Who's this man that slapped boxing king Ali in the face and publicly humiliated him? He was a coward, not daring to accept his own challenge. Who was so crazy to publicly fight boxing king Ali? He was Ali's former sparring partner, Larry Holmes. Ali was the greatest boxing champion of the 70s, and many fighters wanted to beat Ali and make their name in the boxing world. Of course, Holmes was no exception, but because Ali was in his prime, Holmes stood no chance at all. Fast forward to 1980, Ali had already been retired for 2 years. Due to suffering from Parkinson's, not only his strength greatly diminished, Ali didn't want to return, but Holmes' continuous humiliation completely angered Ali. Finally, against the advice of his family, Ali, despite his failing health, stepped down back into the ring to defend his dignity, but that night turned out to be the most heartbreaking night for Ali's fans. Ali was dominated by Holmes for 10 rounds and eventually left beaten and bruised. At the time, 14-year-old Tyson watched the entire match on TV as an Ali fan. Seeing his idol being treated this way, Tyson silently vowed to avenge Ali when he grew up. Years later, the opportunity finally came, and even boxing champion Ali personally came to support Tyson. Ali walked up to Tyson's ear and whispered, "Remember your silence, and avenge me." Those words felt like a powerful force infused into Tyson's body, and the war officially began. Tyson immediately launched a brutal attack, making it difficult for Holmes to defend. Holmes wanted to use a meandering style of fighting to deal with Tyson's attack. However, Tyson gave his opponent no chance to breathe, pressing forward steadily. Holmes could only keep on dodging, unable to make a move. Clearly, Holmes was terrified of Tyson's heavy punch and dared not face Tyson head-on. Holmes wanted to defeat Tyson on points, but Tyson's style was the opposite, with an offensive approach that aimed to knock out his opponent and end the fight in 1 round, never letting it drag on to the 5th. This fast-paced style made it difficult for Holmes to adapt. Though Holmes was frantically trying to evade, he couldn't avoid Tyson's relentless heavy punches. Holmes was in a panic, completely losing his footing. Tyson kept pressing with a barrage of big hooks, slamming them into his opponent. Holmes was left breathless by Tyson's overwhelmingly tough style. Suddenly, Tyson seized an opportunity and swung a vicious rear uppercut, smashing Holmes in the head and knocking him straight to the ground. Holmes struggled to his feet, gasping for air. Tyson continued unleashing his power, quickly beating Holmes down again. At this point, Holmes was clearly at the end of his rope, barely able to defend himself and stall for time. But Tyson wouldn't give his opponent any chance to recover. Continuing to build momentum, and Jag, pummeled by Tyson's onslaught. Just as Holmes had done to Ali, Tyson trapped him against the ropes and unleashed a vicious combination of punches. After enduring dozens of terrifying blows, Holmes finally couldn't take any more. One final devastating hook from Tyson slammed into his head, dropping him to the canvas where he lay defeated. Tyson had knocked out Holmes, earning a spectacular victory and fulfilling his promise. Taught this arrogant challenger a harsh lesson. Tyson displayed not only dominance, but righteousness in the ring. This fight became a classic in boxing history. This battle, Holmes' fists were not just great, but the greatest. Just great, but the greatest. In this battle, Holmes' fists were not just great, but the greatest. In this battle,